Leadership isn't just about authority, it's about influence. The way you speak and present yourself can dramatically impact how others perceive you. Whether you're addressing a team, giving a presentation, or having a one-on-one conversation, your communication skills are crucial. In this article, we'll explore unique strategies that will help you speak like a leader and earn the respect you deserve. Chapter 1. Commanding Presence. The silent power of posture in leadership. Your body often speaks louder than your words. Studies show that 55% of communication is nonverbal, according to Dr. Albert Mehrabian's famous research on communication. That means your posture can greatly impact how others perceive your authority. It's not just about standing tall but knowing how to carry yourself. One effective technique is the power pose. Social psychologist Amy Cuddy found that standing in a high power pose for just 2 minutes can increase your confidence and even change your hormone levels. Testosterone levels rise, boosting your sense of power, while cortisol, the stress hormone, decreases. Try this before any major presentation or meeting. Another tip is to maintain open body language. Crossing your arms or slouching can make you look closed off or insecure. Instead, stand or sit with your shoulders back and your chest open. You'll appear more approachable and confident. Keeping your chin level with the floor rather than tucking it down can subtly make you look more assured. Finally, eye contact is key. Leaders who maintain eye contact while speaking tend to come across as more trustworthy and competent. Research from the University of Wolverhampton shows that those who maintain eye contact during conversations are viewed as more persuasive and likable. So, make eye contact, but don't overdo it. About 60–70% of the time is a good balance. Chapter 2. The Art of Vocal Gravitas. Speaking with purpose and power. Your voice can be one of your most powerful leadership tools. Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister of the UK, actually had a vocal coach help her lower the pitch of her voice to sound more authoritative. The truth is, people naturally respond better to deeper, more resonant tones. Studies show that people with lower-pitched voices are seen as more dominant and competent. To develop vocal gravitas, start by working on your breathing. When you take shallow breaths, your voice can sound strained or high-pitched. Practice diaphragmatic breathing. Breathe deeply from your abdomen, not your chest. This will give your voice more depth and control. Another strategy is to slow down your speech. Leaders who speak too fast often sound nervous or unsure. When you speak slowly, you give your words more weight. According to research by Dr. Peter Ubel, people tend to trust speakers who pause for effect. Pausing allows your audience time to absorb your message, and it shows you're in control of the conversation. Varying your tone is equally important. A monotone voice can put people to sleep, but strategic variation keeps listeners engaged. Raise your tone slightly when making a point, and lower it when you want to emphasize seriousness or importance. This technique makes your speech more dynamic and captivating. Chapter 3. Magnetic Influence. How to make every word count. Being a leader isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it. Harvard psychologist Steven Pinker points out that language is a powerful tool for shaping how others perceive reality. Leaders who choose their words carefully are more influential and respected. One effective strategy is to simplify your language. Research shows that people tend to trust and remember leaders who speak plainly. Avoid jargon or complicated words that alienate your audience. Instead, focus on clarity. Winston Churchill once said, "Short words are best, and the old words, when short, are best of all." Leaders also need to be strategic about framing their message. A study by Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize-winning psychologist, found that the way information is presented affects how it's received. For example, when presenting a new idea, frame it as an opportunity rather than a challenge. People are more likely to be open and receptive when they feel they have something to gain. Another powerful tool is repetition. Repeating key points reinforces your message and makes it more memorable. Think of Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous, "I have a dream" speech. He repeated that phrase multiple times to drive his message home. Repetition works because it creates familiarity, and people tend to trust what feels familiar. Finally, make sure you're using positive language. Research from the University of California found that people respond more favorably to positive statements than negative ones. For instance, instead of saying, "Don't be late," try, "Let's make sure we're all on time." Positive language motivates and inspires, while negative language can feel like a reprimand. If you found these strategies helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on effective leadership and communication techniques. Chapter 4. Storytelling Mastery. Leading minds with stories, not instructions. Great leaders don't just give instructions, they tell stories that inspire. In fact, humans are wired for stories. According to psychologist Jerome Bruner, we are 22 times more likely to remember a fact if it's part of a story. Stories allow you to connect with your audience emotionally and make your message more relatable. A powerful strategy is to use personal stories. Sharing your own experiences makes you more authentic and builds trust. Brené Brown, in her book Daring Greatly, explains that vulnerability, when shared through stories, is a sign of strength. People respect leaders who can admit their struggles and show how they overcame them. Another technique is to follow the classic story arc: problem, struggle, resolution. This structure is effective because it mirrors real-life challenges and solutions. For example, instead of simply telling your team to work harder, tell them a story about a time you faced a similar challenge and how persistence led to success. Don't forget to make your audience the hero. Leadership expert Donald Miller, in his book Building a Story Brand, emphasizes that leaders should act as guides, not heroes, in their stories. This approach shifts the focus to your team or audience, empowering them to see themselves as capable and resourceful. It's also helpful to use metaphors in your stories. According to a Stanford University study, metaphors help people grasp complex ideas more easily. So, if you're discussing business growth, you might compare it to climbing a mountain, with each step symbolizing progress toward the summit. Lastly, keep your stories short and focused. Attention spans are shrinking. Recent research shows that the average attention span is now just 8 seconds. Make sure your stories are concise, hitting the main points without unnecessary details. This keeps your audience engaged and helps them remember your message. Chapter 5. Active Listening. The secret weapon of respectful leadership. Most people think leadership is all about talking, but great leaders know the real secret: listening. In fact, a study by Zenger Folkman found that leaders who listen well are 85% more likely to have engaged employees. Listening isn't passive, it's an active strategy that builds respect and loyalty. One simple strategy is to practice reflective listening. This means not only hearing what someone says but reflecting it back to them. For example, if someone expresses frustration, you might say, "It sounds like this situation is really stressing you out. What can we do to fix it?" This shows that you understand and value their feelings. Leaders should also avoid interrupting. Interruptions send the message that you're not fully interested in what the other person is saying. According to leadership expert Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Shift your focus to understanding before responding. Another powerful technique is to ask open-ended questions. These are questions that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. Asking things like, "Can you tell me more about that?" or "How do you see this situation?" encourages deeper conversation and signals that you genuinely want to hear their thoughts. Nonverbal cues are also important. Nodding, leaning slightly forward, and maintaining eye contact all show that you're fully present. A study from the University of Michigan found that people are 4.6 times more likely to feel positive about a conversation when the listener uses these cues. Lastly, make sure to follow up. After someone shares something important with you, following up later shows that you were truly listening and care about the outcome. Even a simple, "Hey, how did that meeting go?" can deepen the respect and trust they have in you as a leader.